Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Abe with MysticGenMara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And this video will be going up the day before St. Patrick's Day. That way you can find the goodies that you need. Linked in the description, or not linked, in the description of the video, I have a list of things that I will be using today and a couple of suggestions if you're looking for something special. What I was thinking about is we'll just kind of do a quick review of St. Patrick and some of the stuff that he did. But while we were doing that, why not make our own good luck ritual? So that's kind of what I was thinking about. And the list of stuff that I'm using personally and some stuff you can use extra, but what I'm using today is cinnamon. We got some cinnamon here. We have some ground cloves. We have some black peppercorns, and I'll explain what these are for each as we go through. My little side table is very full right now. Some bay leaves, and then things like iron pyrite, lots of that, and some amber, just because, like I said, I'll explain as we go. And then bay leaves, I talked about those, and then a green candle, a Sharpie or a pencil, pen, whatever you use, and a piece of paper. But I'll also talk about a trick you can use instead of the paper. And then the last item is a Squatty glass jar. This is an 8-ounce mason jar. You can use the little 4-ounce jelly jars as well. They're kind of handy for this because you don't need the lid, but it's better if you have one, just for the reasons that we'll talk about at the end. So if you want to join along and follow through, that's awesome. We also have some runes we will talk about as well you can use on your candle. And for carving, there's a couple of different tools out there you can buy. There's some really expensive stuff you can buy. You can use the wax pens as well, the ones that like squirt out little bits of wax. I just use toothpicks. It's the easiest way for me just to etch into the candle. There are some other things that I don't have right now, but if you are wanting to amp up a little bit or play a little bit more, there is Lucky Hand powder, which is kind of fun. Fast Luck powder, and I've used both of those. They're kind of, it's interesting when you use them, let's put it that way. And then you can also add horseshoes or a horseshoe charm or a 4-leaf clover. If you have a real 4-leaf clover and you're willing to use it for this, go for it. I have a 5-leaf somewhere, but I'm not using that for anything, mainly because it's so unique. Anywho, so the first part, we have to decide on a rune, and these are what they call bind runes, the ones that I have chosen today. And these ones are kind of my own design. I took the basic runes and then adjusted them as needed. So the first one is the bind rune for success, and so you can carve this into your candle if you would like. You can also, if you are really wanting to get focused, you can draw all of these on the outside of your jar. That way it'll bump everything up, because I have 3 different ones. So I'm going to leave these up, by the way, so you can see them as we go through. The second one is the bind rune of positive change. There's 2 different styles you can use. There's that one, and then there's that one, and either one works, so you can make your decision on that. Then the last one is the rune of power or longevity, and that's, oops, this guy. And the reason I did these 3 in particular is success. So if you have a wish, a goal, or an ambition, we'll just start with our work here. You can write it on the piece of paper, or if you have a nice flat bay leaf, you can write it on your bay leaf. And generally when we're talking about like wish jars and things like that, which is what this is going to be, you only want a simple phrase or 1 or 2 words, like financial success or 2 times finances, things like that, where it's very basic, very simple. You're not writing a litany towards whatever. Keep it short, keep it simple. It works with your subconscious better. So if you're looking for success in a certain area, this would be the rune you use. If you're looking for positive change, let's say your job's hit the dead end, you've glass ceilinged out, or you're just bored out of your mind, you could use this one. And if you're looking just to add power or longevity to a project you're working on, you're like, if you want your business to become generational, that's this guy. Or if you're looking to amp up the power or benefit of whatever it is you're working on, again, that's this one. So these are some ideas you can use. So if you wanted to, you could sit down and write out, like if you're looking for financial success, well, there you go. But you want to write down on your leaf or on the paper first the goal that you're working on. Of course, I'm not going to show mine because that's half the fun. We don't have to talk about these things. But it is, you write down the words that you're looking for, and then you can glue that or drip a little bit of wax from your candle, and you're going to put that in the bottom of the jar. That's the first thing that goes in, and your bay leaf can get broken. It's just going to happen. I'm just going to snap the ends off of mine so it'll lay flat in there. So there's that in the bottom. See? And that's where you can start. Then you want to pick whichever rune you're looking for. Let me get rid of weird little glitch just popped up here. And you can either carve, draw, or however you wish to adhere that to your candle. And why are we doing this on St. Patrick's Day? Well, basically because this is the time of, green beer, it's springtime, bunnies, leprechauns, pots of gold at the end of the rainbows, which is what we're working on here to get your pot of gold at the end of your personal rainbow. So you want to think about what it is you're looking for as you're carving your rune into your candle or drawing it on. And I don't recommend using a standard Sharpie or marker on a candle for the simple fact of your Sharpie or marker will never write correctly after that again, just heads up. Wax has a very negative effect on felt tip anything, so you want to make sure that you're carving it or you're using the colored wax pens. And the wax pens are actually a lot of fun if you can get a hold of some good ones. I get mine at like either Hobby Lobby or Michael's, just depends on who has the best sales at that time, because that's where I'm at with life. Because why spend more than you have to if you don't really need to go there? So but you want to make sure you're carving that. Sorry, these are even runes that I have designed, and I'm still have to focus when I'm drawing them. But as you're doing that, you want to make sure that you're drawing and focusing on your particular success or what you want to make live forever, or which positive change you're wanting to work on. And it doesn't have to be super deep. It can just be a simple, like you can barely see that. That's all you have to do. You can put all three on your candle if you wish. It's really kind of your thing. Make it personal. That's the point of all of these, is if it's personal for you, it'll work better. So while you're carving, during St. Patrick's Day, everybody gets to be a little bit Irish, and everyone's pagan at that point. That's just how we roll. So when we look at this holiday, there actually was a saint that was attached to this holiday, but there's not an exact time of birth. General consensus among a lot of people is he was sometime at the early part of the 5th century, so around the year 400 AD sometime, because you know how special those times of things were. And he was raised in a fairly religious family. Of course he was. He became a saint after all, so there is that option. And while I'm talking here, I'm going to see if I can, oops, no, you stay down there, get this to glue itself in. Maybe it won't. I'm not sure if I'll actually get mine lit today, but we'll try some stuff. And like I said, you can use wax or glue. I'm going to try glue so I don't have to light a bazillion candles in here, because that will be less than pleasant. None of his youthful upbringing, though, stuck with St. Patrick. He claimed he was a bit rebellious in his younger days, which, you know, I think we all can relate to that to some extent. Like, why would we want to do that? That's boring. We're going to have fun. We're going to be rebellious. We're going to do our thing, you know? So you want to work look at that. Uh, but around the age of 16, Patrick was basically collected by Irish pirates, which makes it even more funny to think about that, because what we celebrate today is, being, especially the more public version of it, is drunk and disorderly and carrying on. Well, Patrick was actually collected by drunk pirates. Maybe not literally, but we can make that. And this was not the greatest thing to happen to a kid, obviously, but with a lot of saints, how you become a saint has to do with the trials and tribulations you went through. So that was basically his starter story. My glue is not sticking very well. We'll see how this works. But in reality, and this happens with any spiritual practice, to be completely honest with you, struggle, torment, and trials tends to bring us closer to our aspect of divinity and how we see the divine. So just because you might be dealing with some stuff right now, that doesn't actually mean that you're failing. It doesn't mean that you're going down the wrong direction. It literally means that you're being tested to see where you're at in life and what needs to change. Sometimes it's testing to see where your faith is at. Is it nice? No, never is. But that's kind of where we're at with things. And he was in this situation for like 6 years. This was not a short-term thing for him. But he did eventually escape, which is cool. And he returned home, and he was in his mid to late 20s. And when he did, because of the trials and tribulations that he'd been through and the struggle that had created and pushed him towards his faith, he really delved into his Christian beliefs more so. And he apparently was hearing visions and seeing visions and hearing voices. Sorry, love playing that word game. And they actually encouraged him to return to Ireland, and so he decided to act on those. And he became very tuned into his intuition. So when he was led to certain things, he would just do it. So he didn't even question when he was being told to go back to Ireland, where he spent the worst part of his life, basically. And when he got there, no one wanted to deal with him. They were like, get out of here. They drove him back to his ship. He had to sail almost to the top of the country to find someone who didn't want to hurt him, which, depending on what kind of Christian Catholic, that conflict is still going on today. And it was interesting because he had a finger pointed at him the entire time. He apparently was charged at some point with financial impropriety because he wouldn't accept money for his work that he was doing for the church, which was strange because priests always took money. They always took charity for the spiritual blessings that they offered. And he's like, yeah, no, I'm good. We don't need that. He paid out of pocket for anything that he did. He never accepted stuff for free, which was extremely weird to the people of that time. You were a holy man, you got paid. What are you doing paying for anything? That's just not how they thought. So he refused the paupers' gifts all the way up to the king's. He did not take any of it. And it really made him hated, which confuses me a little bit. Like, wait, you're not taking things, but you're doing stuff for free, and that makes you hated. Okay. He was a walking martyr, according to writings about him. He had been robbed of what, I'm not sure. Beaten several times, mainly because he wouldn't take stuff from important people. He'd been arrested and put in chains, and legends are all over with this guy, so you can really dig into him if you're looking for that information. The current legend that we tend to think about is him chasing the snakes out of Ireland and into the sea, and that's why there's still no snakes in Ireland today. It could be that, or it could be just it's too cold for the little slithery heathens to be running around. There's also this lore that St. Patrick had the power to raise the dead. Okay, we'll go with that. And we also have his belief in where we get the shamrock, because that's kind of a weird crossover. The 3-leaf and 4-leaf clover, it's kind of druidic earth magic, but it's also tied in something that he talked about. The 3-leaf clover shamrock is the Trinity, the God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. You can also see this, if you're into less mainstream Christianity, as the triple-faced gods and triple-faced goddesses. Maiden, Mother, Crone, Youth, Warrior, Elder, so you've got those other aspects you can look at as well. There is also a theory that there were multiple St. Patricks running about doing their things, so you can have fun with trying to figure out, was there one or was there 50? Because it was quite a few different people with that title. Oddly enough, working in the same area. So who knows if it was one person, multiple places, or, you know, the typical one that happens is, well, that person acts a lot like St. Patrick, so maybe that was St. Patrick, even though that guy might have been in another country at that point. So you have a lot of different opinions there. And eventually, things merged into this more worldwide, actually, is where it ends up, holiday of everyone has the luck of the Irish on St. Patrick's Day. And there's not a clear line that I have seen where this comes in. It's just kind of a here we go type thing. So, but yeah, we have this belief now in March 17th. It was in lore, the reason we have the St. Patrick's Day on that day was that was the day of his death. So that's kind of why that particular day was picked. Again, we don't know for sure because that was, you know, almost 2,000 years ago. And the church actually wasn't canonizing saints during that time, so it was later that he was canonized. And he was never officially canonized by a sitting pontiff, so no pope ever said he is now canonized. Recognized as a saint, venerated as a saint, holidays as a saint, all this other stuff, but the official papal power was never applied to his sainthood. So that's kind of an interesting anomaly, if you will. But back to our candle. Hopefully you're done carving after we get done with that. From here, if you have a specific goal, intention, or need, success in business, things like that, you can add other supplies. Like can add a coin if you're looking for business. You can add good luck. Horseshoes are really good for this, or shamrocks. But I am using, because we're looking at the luck of the Irish here, so we're going to bring in a little fool's gold, because gold's expensive, fool's gold is cheap. And you don't have to have a lot. Literally, if you have one or two pieces you want to toss in, you can just toss those in there. Careful if you're using glass, which what I'm using. You don't want to break your jar. And the nice thing with the type of minerals that we are, just the way minerals work in spirituality, is you don't have to have a lot to make them work. So it doesn't have to be like, I just bought half a pound of pyrite. Why? You need like 3 pieces. And then be little pieces. The other stone you can add, pyrite is good for good luck, good fortune, financial abundance, and prosperity. The other stone I am using is the amber, little bag of amber beads. The beads are always going to be a little bit cheaper, and to be honest with you, I've purchased some online, but I have better luck going to my local crystal shop and getting the strings of them. I don't know why I've always had better luck buying them in person, so I'm not linking anything with that, because amber is surprisingly easy to fake. So if you're not looking at it in person, you might end up getting a fake one. And that's not an accusation towards anybody. That's just, it's a super easy stone to fake. That's the reason I say that one would be better to find in person. So you get your crystals and your stones in there, and you can add, again, whatever else. If you're looking for love, you can add rose quartz. If you're looking for more success in your meditation practices, you can add amethyst. If you're looking for success and longevity of some mental project you're working on, school, studying, courses of mysticism or spirituality, you can use lapis lazuli as well as amethyst. You can kind of add it and adjust it to what you need. And you don't have to just go with crystals and stone. If there's a charm that is exactly what you're looking for, drop that in your jar. And bay leaf, the reason I say write your intention on that is also a good one, because it is for good luck, prosperity, abundance. It also has a little bit of protection with it. So you're getting your good luck, but you're also being buffered from some of the more questionable things out there. which I think we all can use some extra help in that department some days. I was like, where'd my cloves go? So then you can just take, and you don't have to have a lot of these. This is the cloves. Cloves is financial abundance. It's also about the concept of abundance in general, or prosperity. And you've watched my videos before. You know that when I say abundance or prosperity, I am not talking exclusively money, because abundance can be you have a plethora of friends, you have an amazing job, you have all the kittens and puppies you could ever want. Abundance is a personal thing of where do you see yourself as successful. So when you're using cloves and cinnamon in this respect, one, you're drawing financial benefits to you, which is always a good thing, right? But you're also seeing how much extra good luck you can draw in. And we're working on a good luck jar here. So, and then cinnamon is the other one. And cinnamon is super floofy, so you don't want to use, I mean, you can use it, just be careful when you're playing with that. Otherwise, you'll have cinnamon all over the house. Because that is a downside of cinnamon. And I'm just barely touching this out of this bag, and it's floofing all over. Good thing I like the smell of cinnamon. But, so you're adding those to the jars. So your jar is starting to look a little floofy and a little sparkly here. And once you're into a certain point, you want to, if you're like me and you're a little OCD, you want to flatten everything out so it doesn't pile up. You can do that too. And then the last thing that you're adding that is on my main list here, and this is something that I would recommend putting in just for these reasons, is the black peppercorn. The black peppercorns are boosters. They like to, whatever you got going on, they're going to add to it. So if you're looking for success, they're going to add to it. If you're looking for positive changes, you might be surprised what happens. And if you're looking for longevity or just need a little oomph to something, black pepper is the way to go in these type of rituals. So you're going to add a few of those. The other part with black pepper that really is a good thing to do when you're building a good luck charm is black pepper repels negativity. So you're doing your work here to build a good luck charm, and black pepper is saying, cool, let's keep the bad luck away and let's actually get your good luck coming in. Because, I mean, like I said, we all can use more good luck in our lives. And I should have put this in a bowl or something beforehand because this bag is driving me bonkers. Sorry. So, and like I said, if you're not interested in this kind of stuff, that's fine. But it is kind of a fun way to use as a meditation tool. Give yourself some focus on getting things more clear. And if you are someone who's more into the Wiccan or ceremonial aspects, you can do this in a full ceremonial setting as well. It's a way to get your mind into that state of, what am I looking for? Now it's time to ask God's source, any of the saints or angels that you wish to work with. Here's my my pot of gold, my good luck at the end of the rainbow, and let's see what we can manifest here. And that's what the purpose is. So you have your jar with all your little goodies and bits and bobs in there. And like I said, when you're done, the reason I say a jar, you should have a lid. Because when you light this, you can light it and meditate with it. These little chime candles, which are the ones I have in the description if you're interested, they burn for about 45 minutes, 30 minutes to an hour basically, but 45 is about what I've had normal use with. They burn away really quick, and they always leave a puddle of wax. Again, you're going to leave the puddle of wax in your jar, and then you can put a cap on it. And when you do that, then it's something that you can keep with you until whatever you have written on your piece of paper manifests. And what I like to do is get done with these things, you put your cap on it, you stick it under your bed. Out of sight, out of mind. Unless you have a cat, then we'll drag it out, but leave it under there so that it can work with your subconscious more, and you can you'll be down there doing something, be like, oh yeah, I wanted that good luck. Have I got that yet? And when you do, then you can dispose of it as you need. I usually throw anything that's biodegradable back out to nature. Anything that's not biodegradable, like wax, that will go into the garbage just so it doesn't, add to the problem around the place. But it's a nice way to try something a little bit different, get a little bit more experience with calling in the good luck, and hey, why not tap into the good luck of St. Patrick's Day? You can have your green beer if you would like, but if that's not your thing, and you want to just focus on good luck, prosperity, and abundance, this is the way to do it. So once you have everything in your jar, you're going to light your candle. You're going to let it burn all the way down, let it burn completely out. One sitting preferred. Doesn't mean you have to do it that way. If something comes up and you have to go, you can snuff it out. But don't forget to let it burn completely down over time. And once it's burned down, put the cap on it, put it somewhere like under your bed, and leave it until your wish is fulfilled. Because we're looking for some good luck in areas, and this is one way you can work on that. So, if you enjoy this type of content, please let me know in the comments down below. Like, comment, and subscribe, all that fun jazz. If you have any other things to add to your jars, feel free to leave them in the comments. We're here to help grow and learn from each other, so I would love to hear from you guys. With that, feel free to use any of these runes, because they're ones that I've developed over time using different base runes. They're not super complicated to build bind runes, but these ones are already set up, so it's easier to just grab one that you need. But yeah, other than that, have a great and safe St. Patrick's Day, and I will see you in the next video.